Your new hat is like, I had to come through with the Zulu with the full ostrich feathers in here so you can see it.
Hi everyone, I'm Christy from Cultural DC, and today for Shaken Not Stirred, I'm with Umar Rashid, the artist known as Frohawk. Look, and you're wearing feathers today.
I am wearing feathers. I'm wearing two feathers, two ostrich feathers. How are you?
I'm great.
COVID-19.
Last time I saw you, it was like in New York for Armory, and you were like in the New York Times, and like.
Yeah, that was a great time, and I was just like so I was so pissed off when I got back.
World came crumbling down like days later.
I know. I was like, man,
on the train on the way home.
The high is high and the low is low.
Yeah.
But it was great to see you, and then I had tons of champagne. Like I had a bottle of champagne there. It had champagne there. I saw like all the people that I wanted to see. I had such a great time. I went to see Derek Adams' show at the Hudson River Museum. It was such a fantastic time. So, but actually, I will say I credit that with me being able to maintain sanity, because I know that like on March the 4th, I was in New York City having a grand time, and then by March 17th, the sky had fallen. So, in a matter of 11 days,
yeah,
in the span of 11 days, like everything went from here to here. And then a month before that, I was in the Netherlands, and I was riding a bike through the city, and I was having a great time there. And I went on this wild adventure with this guy. I guess he was like some gigolo, but I was hanging out with some other guys, and we went to all these bars. And it was crazy. It was like I wanted to write a movie about that, So like it's like In Bruges, but Rotterdam version. But anyway, it was a great time. So but those things like these, so the experiences of my life, because I have all the history, all the work that I do about history is already in here. It's already just circulating around, and it just needs the right catalyst. And so I'm glad that I didn't choose this time to come up with what the paintings that I was going to make, because I don't think people want to be reminded of this time.
But is what's happening right now, is that being reflected in the work or not?
I mean, I deal with colonialism, so yeah, there's always like viruses, and colonialism is a virus in and of itself. And so I think no, but it's not like the hysteria, it's not the paranoia, but it's just, colonialism is just it was a hard time in existence, and it really does actually work like a virus. It moved from country to country, took over countries. It also brought new diseases to the new world. It killed off tons of people. And then the people that survived were forced into slavery when they didn't want to be slaves, and they went and they started the transatlantic slave trade. So yes, in a sense, what I do is kind of like right now. It's always been like right now. But
what is it about colonialization that like interests you so much? Like, why is that so prevalent in your work? Like,
I think it is basically the blueprint for all the things that are going on now, because there's still neocolonialism.
Right.
Especially when you look in terms of oil revenues and things like that. I mean, neocolonialism is still very, very prevalent, and even what the Chinese companies in Africa, what they're doing right now is no different from what the Europeans did 200 years earlier. And except for now, there's like more. Well, no, it's not even. It hasn't even changed, because you still find the people who will give you agency, and the quote unquote chiefs or the prime ministers, whatever you want to call them, who want to, and this goes for the whole world, the people who want to give complicity and allow the land to be open. So, I mean, what I'm dealing with, the reason why I chose colonialism is because it was the most malleable of times in which you can create, like, it was, I think it was truly the last time when you could just really like set something off. So it was easier for me to write a story about that time more than writing a story about now, because the history could have been changed. If I could have taken, I could have done it in the Renaissance era or anything prior to the industrial era. the industrial era, because the industrial era, well, the modern era, I would say, not the industrial era, but the industrial era made it a lot difficult because a lot of things were explored. The wars, the radar, discovery of radar and things like that, like which, eventually grew into GPS, global positioning satellites and things of that nature, and so we have this, there's that problem with that. Mm-hmm. But so I said colonialism because it informs myself, it informs my history as an American, as an African American whose parents have been here since the 18th century, all the roots of the people that I'm a part of, from the Scots Irish to the Native Americans to whoever, else, filtered into my family line. And so that's who I am, so I'm like this amalgamate of, we all are amalgamates of time, or historical, the progression of time.
Talk about storytelling. I want you to talk about storytelling, because not all artists, I think about the storytelling in the way that they talk about their work. And I think it's interesting because I know a little about your history. I know about your dad and being a playwright. And so talk about like how storytelling, I want to know more about that. And I want to know why that's how that is reflected in your work. And
well,
that's important.
Storytelling is important because my earliest foray into the art world was actually creative writing, and my brother was oh man, I forgot. I was wondering why I'm feeling choked because I got on this mask. I was like wearing a mask choker. I should put a puka shell on here, huh? This little puka shell.
Take it off.
It was like choking the shit out of me. I'm like, all right. So, I mean, earlier, of course, my dad's, my dad's history is a playwright. My mother was an actress. My father's an actress. So, I thought to myself, hey, I'm going to be a writer. I like seeing my dad, typing, on the typewriter. I still love the sounds of the typewriter to this day. So I just decided to write my history. Before that, I was writing other fiction pieces. And then when I decided to be a painter, I decided to write my history out. Wow, these are, take these off too. Woo!
Can you see me?
I can't see you. When I moved to LA, I was a photographer and I couldn't work in photography anymore. And so at that point, I had decided that I would try my hand at painting. So, from my experience, I didn't really like a lot of the paintings that I saw because I felt like they were all very, kind of contrived, especially at that time. In 2000, it was like we were all leaving the rave scene, so everything was like some sort of matrixy shit. And I was like, wow, this sucks. Or, it was like, those big, giant, abstract pieces, and I was like, oh fuck this, I can't do this. And then there was like the cutesy shit from Japan that came in, and Korea and China, and I was like, well fuck this too. And then there was like the really strange art school shit that has always been going on. I was like, and fuck this. So I had rejected everything that I had seen, and I wanted to create a new thing. And so I was like, hey, I'm a writer. I don't see myself, I love history. I'm going to write my own fucking story. I'm going to illustrate that shit and turn it into an epic series that I can do until the day that I die, which will be many, many, many moons from now. Yeah. Many, many thousands of suns from now. So that's what I did. And so writing, and when you have a narrative, it's a lot easier to create kind of a focal point rather than, just trying to come up with new cool shit every day. But I was going to show you some of the pieces. Do you mind?
Yeah, show.
Ready?
Yeah. Whoa. Those are very large.
Yeah, these are huge.
Awesome. So are these for Made in LA?
This is for the Huntington. So I can't show you the thing for the hammer because it's on the back of these.
Oh.
And I can't move it by myself.
Got it. Yeah.
So much time. But so this is me talking about colonialism in a way where I'm talking about Stockholm syndrome.
Huh. Okay.
Like how a lot of these people, willingly, I mean, again, it's the same thing as now. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, not much has really changed. Let me put the air on. It's very hot here. How cool is it in DC right now? You got a sweater.
It changes every day. It was like 75 and beautiful this weekend, and then it's going to be like 39 on the weekend. I don't know.
Are you serious, man? I want to go there. I want to go to there. This is another old one.
Yes, I love that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, zoom in a little and talk about it. Yeah.
So this is called the codex between heat and suddenhood death syndrome, the Axumite stele. So usually I make steles. So a stele was like a marker for the Axumite kingdom, and the Egyptians also made them. The Romans made them and called them columns. Basically records of victory. So, it's just because of the elongated nature of it. It's the stele. And these people are the Axumites, but it also refers to Los Angeles. And so here's the Watts Towers here, which is Watts.
Mm-hmm.
Watts 120, how, like South LA, there's little Ethiopia. And then there's the movie Boys in the Hood. My fascination with video games is the crown, one of the Egyptian crowns, some of the Egyptian gods, like the Ethiopian Coptic Church, a lot of Ethiopian script, the Ge'ez, I think it's the Ge'ez script. And so just taking like Los Angeles, herdsman of Ladera, talking about Ladera Heights, the brother of Malcolm, X-Men, X-Mansion #7 out of Detroit. So this is more like this. Sometimes I do these things for me.
Yeah.
This helps me break the monotony of my invented and appropriated history from the historical narrative, and allows me to create things and inspires more of the cosmic things that I do in the work. So it's a series of small movements, tiny movements, barely noticeable movements that will eventually take us to where we need to be, and also copious amounts of grappa.
All right. With that, cheers. Thank you for bringing me always.
Look at your margarita, like it's like the salt is still there, like it's right on the lip, and it's good. That's what's gonna happen. Boom. Boom. Out.